Okay, John is with Georgia Tech, and just checking your microphone. When do you finish at Georgia Tech, and what are you studying?
This is my last year of computer engineering. I will graduate in December.
Wow, and then what?
Then we're on to block transfer.
Okay, well, please welcome John Wooten from Georgia Tech with block transfer.
Hello, my name is Sean Woodson, and I'm just a kid who really likes to trade stocks. I wrote my first book on securities trading in high school and used that to launch a small friends and retention fund. Today I want to share the story of my best friend's dad, Joe Crabster. April 2020, Joe sweats profusely as hundreds of shareholder emails flood his inbox. Phones ring off the hook all day long for his team of nearly a dozen shareholder service reps. The mounting pressure feels like a blood vessel, about to explode. Joe has no clue how to balance out hundreds of millions of outstanding yet unsettled dividend payments. Postal services effectively came to a standstill once we're stayed home for COVID. Thus, hundreds of checks mailed to book entry shareholders are nowhere to be seen weeks later. Security holders around the world call it livid, all with the same question: where is my money? It's a question asked far too often in the transfer agent industry. They cost Duke Energy $1 billion in shareholder value in just 2 weeks. Securities laws require every public company on earth to attain a stock transfer agent, and they report a ledger that looks very similar to this. It's just a list of all the shareholders in the company, on the books of the company, with a little bit about them and how many shares they have. Do you ever had a direct share purchase plan or employee stock options? That's right through the transfer agent. And it's incredibly important for things like stock splits, dividend distributions, or shareholder voting. But the way it's traditionally implemented is fundamentally flawed. Nowadays, if you want to transfer book entry stock, you have to go through one central middleman. Nowadays, that looks like is print out. This is the average amount of paperwork they'll print out for a book entry stock transfer. You got to follow all that person's rules. Once you fill out all this paperwork, you take it to the bank, and you show them 2 forms of ID, you sign everything, you have the bank sign everything, you have the bank stamp everything, you take all that to the post office, you mail that into the transfer agent, and if you're lucky, you'll get a check back in the mail a week later. It's an incredible waste of time and money for so many shareholders, and really just an awful experience. We saw this firsthand running the fund, and we ended up closing after our best year ever to go and build the first transfer agent built on public blockchain technology. We since took our processes and all the systems we built and had them put into a utility patent. And at the end of last year, we received final approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission to be the first public blockchain for book entry stock in America, really the first place for companies to have their securities directly listed on a public blockchain compliantly. Here's what this market looks like. The average transfer agent contract is $400,000 a year. In America, that's about $1.5 billion a year. And abroad, it's about $4 billion a year for these public firms, and really just a gross waste of shareholder capital. Historically, the top firms have been buying up and consolidating all the smaller firms. But we've noticed in the past few years, these trends are starting to reverse. You'll see on the far left here that the largest firms are losing market share over time, and new entrants with new technology are coming in and proving that these companies, these public CFOs make the purchasing decision, then take it to the board of directors to approve. Public CFOs have seen this new technology and started to change. So at the end of the day, this is a changing market very quickly. And we have the technology and the SEC approvals to lead that change. And this alpha here with that new technology is really where we see that ourselves chunking into that market. In terms of advisors, from left to right, you have Dr. Vlad Kolesnikov, who's an incredibly well-respected crypto researcher at Georgia Tech. In the middle, you have Dr. DJ Wu, who pioneered a lot of platform business models at Tech. And on the right, you have Jared Morello, who's the Chief Information Security Officer at Intercontinental Exchange, which owns the NYSE. 20 years. These are all impressions I've learned out under Tech and been influential to the company. Here's what that looks like for the shareholder. First thing you're going to do is log into Blockchain Wallet, which are becoming more and more common outside of just finance applications and really into everyday life. Now, what you'll notice is this is just a standard blockchain wallet. This isn't us, it's just a standard interface anybody can use. Say you got our mobile user and our desktop user. We look here on the right, we have our mobile user, and say they open up their wallet, just their standard blockchain wallet, and they want to receive, say, some demo stock. So we go and see we have some demo stock, and all we have to do to receive that stock is go into our settings and press receive, And we have our address. It's just like an email address. People can send their money to that address. So over here on the desktop, we're just going to type in that address, and we can pick whatever stock we want to send to them. Because you've already signed into your wallet, all the authorizations are done on the back end. So all the signatures, all the security, it's all done right on the back end. And you just send them however much stock you want to send them. Normally, the process of transfer like this, and when you press that send button, it's going to sign everything. Do all those confirmations would take weeks. You have to go do all the paperwork. You have to mail it all in. Now, all you do is press send, and we in the blockchain we use, you can go up to our accounts. The average transfers take just 5 seconds flat, and we'll see, bam, we have a confirmation here on our desktop. If we go over here to our mobile app, we'll see as we refresh that, voila, our new stock is in just like that. And additionally, on the left here on the desktop, we have a new website. This is a public website. This is not our website. This is a site where you can go and look at the actual blockchain. And anyone can go to this, completely public. We don't control it. And you can actually go and see that transfer directly on the blockchain. Normally, transfer agents are completely opaque. And if you wanted to see all the shareholders, all of their transfers, the number of outstanding shares in the company, you can't do it. It's like a black box. This level of transparency is never before seen in the industry. And now it is the first approved way to transparently see all those transfers, which is a huge value add for those shareholders that traditionally don't have any insights to this kind of data and has led to some fairly large conflicts in the past, all solved with more transparency and speed. In terms of financials, our objective this year, launch 5 small beta firms, and then after that, looking sort of at 8 smaller firms at 30K a year and onward to smaller and medium firms. I think this is pretty conservative given the average contract is $400,000 a year. In particular, if you look at those small firms in the second year at 30K, that's going to be 30K versus the 50 or 60K they're paying nowadays on top of all the other benefits they'll get. We like to break everything out into hard cost per shareholder. So notice the hard cost per shareholder stay relatively similar over the whole period. They don't change very much. But the revenue per shareholder increases as you onboard more small and medium firms. Reason why is over time you can add more values like the direct share purchase plans that increase overall value to the companies, let you charge more, but have the same underlying hard blockchain costs. And at the end, that gives us sort of our projected gains and figures here. Really like. In terms of anyone wanting to come into this market, every single piece of paper you see here is an average 200-page piece of regulation. So it really is just a mountain of paperwork for anyone that wants to come in and introduce this. And of course, on top of all this, we have our patent. They were asking for slightly over $1 million. That goes to sales, marketing, a little internal development, crucially support, especially for some of these elder investors that are green here. Really want to make sure the support is at the forefront of everything that we do. So it's very, very easy for these shareholders to transfer their assets. Additionally, these are just the projections that we have from the last slide. With those new sales and copywriters, it really takes a lot of pressure off me. I can focus on blockchain development and the financials, which I'm stronger at. So in reality, we're kind of expecting that to basically double our throughput and allow us to get to a point around year 2 where we can actually pay those salaries out of net cash flow. It shouldn't be, you shouldn't need to raise any more. It should kind of cover itself because we have just a lot more bandwidth going around. At the end of the day, I want to finish off with a story of man from El Salvador. Summer 2020, it's 93 degrees outside. Milton Cabrera boards a bus devoid of air conditioning. An hour later, he arrives in his bank. He waits another hour in a line out the door, and then another hour back home in a hot and smelly bus. It takes Milton 3 hours to pay his electric bill. When crypto came to El Salvador, it completely changed Milton's life and really allowed him to transfer all his assets just like that and really invest in his future. And there are billions of people on this planet just like Milton whose lives can fundamentally change. They can move their assets not in 2 weeks, but just bam, send it out like that. And so that's really the big objective is access to capital markets for these investors. So that at the end of the day, not only for them, but also for the companies that they represent, they don't end up like Joe going on a Saturday afternoon with a bucket of dividend checks to USDS.
Thanks, John.
Of course.
Good job. All right, which one of the judges wants to go first? This is a crazy space.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm not going to even pretend to be an expert. But I did want to know who's on your team. Is it just you doing this right now?
Yeah, and then as needed part-time developers,
Okay.
that is missing me.
So scalability, how? Which was just you.
So yeah, first step is to hire support people and then salespeople. And the product itself is fairly, I mean, it's just soft, you know, so it's always kind of the same product. And all the confirmations and authorizations, aside from identity onboarding, is all done automatically through a blockchain system.
Okay. So, you're not raising any money, so you didn't want to share your financials. But I'm having a tough time understanding your business model. So you say, you can directly transfer assets significantly faster at zero cost, what you have said, versus $75 industry average. So how are you making money?
So that's a cost for the shareholder. Some TAs bill the shareholder per transfer. But at the end of the day, there's always that contract with the firm itself, and that average contract is $400,000 a year. And so it's effectively the same business model, same contract.
And you have customers now?
So I got 3 in progress. We've been working for the past year to get those approvals and to get the product ready for market. And now, once the semester rounds out, looking to scale into market with those first initial clients and build a track record.
But you do have them paying you right now?
Well, no, you only have one transfer agent, you can't. So we gotta, you make the transfers and then, so they're not yet. So we've just been working on those. Yeah.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
So you've talked to customers, obviously that's some experience in this. When they say no, why do they say no?
Usually, especially earlier on, it was more earlier on, we had challenges. We didn't have a product built, we didn't have a demo built, we didn't even have blockchain selected. But now, in general, the feedback is really great. And most people in this industry know and have all this paperwork and they really get fed up with it. So it's been overall a great response. Earlier on, it was just that we didn't have anything. And so now that we have the approvals and the product, it hasn't been too long. The hardest thing is just getting in front of public CFOs.
I can imagine. So, and one of the things you said is a big benefit is the ability for complete transparency. I'm not sure that investors or companies want that. I think we want that, but I'm not sure that typically companies. What's your thoughts on that?
Of course, always a little pushback there. It's all pseudonymous, so it's just like normal crypto where it's just addresses out in the ether. So it provides pseudonymous, you're not like not your name, address, date of birth, and all that is out there. No. So you're anonymized just behind that address that you set up.
It seems like there's going to be some really big guys out to get you because just they make a lot of money off that, and it seems like a very clubby world.
There are firms that charge $40,000 a year just to get the information about
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just a clubby world. So good luck. Next presentation.
The new entrants that you showed, who are those new entrants? Why does someone go to you versus them?
They're using traditional technology, Excel sheet, JARs, add and subtract them as you get the certificates and the stamps and you go through the legals. The biggest thing is price. So it's kind of a commodity service for most of these, especially the smaller issuers, the microcap issuers, the small firms you see have the biggest transfer rate into those new instruments. And so those new firms are usually picking it up off of price. And they've actually, it's led to some reliability problems. So good news is we can compete with them on price because the efficiencies of our platform while also offering speed, reliability, transparency, and ease of use.
The 3 customers or prospects you're working with, when are they going to go live? What's the launch date?
One of them goes public in October. They just did their S1, so still waiting for that. And then the other 2 is just a matter, I got to finish up this semester. I'm kind of swamped with school.
So, can you work with a company that's already public to switch over to yours?
It takes 2 weeks to switch over. They send us the old transfer, send us an Excel spreadsheet. It's drop dead.
But no one's done it yet.
Right, so just got the approvals. So that's what we're working on right now.
Just got the SEC approval?
Yes.
Or is SEC for all blockchain or just you guys?
The SEC is for the transfer agents under Section 17A of the Exchange Act.
To use any blockchain?
Our blockchain, we have
just block transfer, not anybody else.
Our patented system, basically.
So the SEC approval specifically states I'm trying to understand, for block transfer for you guys, not just blockchain in general.
Yes, just for our company.
You might want to go back and just listen to these questions. You might want to say, who has the pain point? CFO has the pain point, but no offense, especially if it's a new CFO, they're probably not going to buck the system. They got enough problems. My guess is if you've got some high net worth individuals that are spending money and time, if you can get some of those, and I don't even know where you get those, where you find those, that might be able to push it because again, that's just a very ingrained industry. But if you do that, those numbers, I mean, if you talk a high net worth individual, figure out how much money or time they're saving, lost opportunity, because they're waiting. You might have something, if you take a number of them to CFO, CEO, they might take a look at it. Because I just think it's a hard one to break into.
All right, that concludes Q&A. Thank you, guys. Thank you, judges. Good job, everyone. Yep, John, stay here.